Welcome, everybody. Thank you for attending this regular city council meeting. It's a regular city council meeting, which means the rules of decorum are in effect, and we're very crowded this evening. So if you do need to have conversation with somebody, please step outside and have that conversation out there so that you don't distract those around you. And with that being said, I'm calling the meeting to order at 5:30. Please stand for the pledges. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Please be seated. City Secretary, we have a quorum this evening with all council members present. Proof of notice of meeting, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Notice of this meeting was posted by 2 p.m. on March 31st.
Okay, next section is public comments. If you're here to make a public comment, you'll need to come to the podium. Please state your name, your ward, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak. Once the timer goes off, you need to step back to your seats. Council cannot respond to you during this time. So when you come up to make a public comment, just keep that in mind. The council is not allowed to respond to you. City Secretary, do we have any public comments this evening?
We do not.
Okay. Moving on to public hearings. This procedure is the same for public hearings. If you're here to comment on a public hearing, you'll come up to the podium, state your name, your ward. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. And remember, council cannot respond to you during a public hearing comment. City Secretary, we're beginning public hearings at 5:31 p.m. Public hearing A to obtain citizen views and comments regarding the first and final reading of ordinance 2026-03-05 and ordinance authorizing and ordering the issuance of City of Alpine, Texas Limited Tax Note Series 2026, specifying the terms and features of such note, levying a continuing direct annual ad valorem tax for the payment of said note, and resolving other matters incident and related to the issuance, sale, payment, and delivery of paying agent register agreement, and providing an effective date. Is there anybody here to speak on this?
So y'all, my name's Drew. I'm with Government Capital Securities. We're y'all's financial advisor, and I'm here for this and just want to be here for any questions you may have. One quick thing, we're able to place it with your local bank, West Texas National Bank, came up with an incredible interest rate. So just want to say that we stayed local, we got the money that y'all needed, and it just takes this meeting to do.
Thank you.
Any questions?
And we can't.
Awesome.
Thank you. Okay, public hearing B to obtain citizen views and comments regarding the second and final reading of ordinance 2026-04-01, an ordinance amending chapter 74 Parks and Recreation, Article 1 in general to the Alpine Code of Ordinances, amending rules and regulations for all city parks, providing the establishment of up to a $500 penalty per occurrence for violations of the ordinance, providing for the establishment of up to a $4,000 penalty for certain public health and safety violations of the ordinance, providing for the following findings of fact: enactment, repealer, penalty, savings, severability, proper notice of meeting, and effective date clauses. Is there anyone here to speak on this? Seeing none, moving on to public hearing C to obtain citizen views and comments regarding the second and final reading of ordinance 2026-04-02, an ordinance establishing Article 10, low speed and utility vehicles, 2, Chapter 94, traffic and vehicles of the Alpine Code of Ordinances, establishing regulations related to the operation of golf carts, pocket bikes, mini motorbikes, and utility task vehicles within the city, providing for penalty of up to $500 per occurrence for violations, and providing for findings of fact, enactment, repealer, penalty, savings, severability, proper notice, and meeting and effective date clauses. Is there anyone here to speak on this? Seeing none, moving on to public hearing D to obtain citizen views and comments regarding the first reading of ordinance 2026-04-03, and ordinance approving rezone application 2026-04-01, amending the official zoning map of the city by rezoning the property located at 205 South Berkeley and legally described as all of lots 8, 9, 10, 11, Block 2, Berkeley addition to the city of Alpine, Brewster County, Texas, as the same appears in the map or plat records on file in the office of the county clerk of Brewster County, Texas, rezoning the subject property from R2 two-family district to R4 mixed residential district, providing for findings of fact, repeal or severability, effective date, proper notice, and hearing clauses. Is there anyone here to speak on this? Seeing none, moving on to public hearing E, to obtain citizen views and comments regarding the first and final reading of ordinance 2026-04-04, an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget to appropriate hotel tax funds for the purchase of real property to support tourism-related infrastructure, authorizing the expenditure of said funds and providing for findings of fact, cumulative severability, proper notice meeting, and effective date. Is there anyone here to speak on this? Seeing none, City Secretary, I close public hearings at 5:36 p.m. Okay, moving on to public presentations. There are no presentations and recognitions. Tonight we have 3 proclamations. If I can have those from the gas department, please come forward. Whereas thousands of times each year, the underground infrastructure in Texas is damaged by those who do not have underground lines properly located prior to digging, resulting in service interruption, environmental damage, and threat to public safety. And whereas in 2005, the Federal Communications Commission designated 811 to provide excavators and homeowners a simple number to contact utility operators to request the location of underground lines at the intended dig site. And whereas the Damage Prevention Councils of Texas, a stakeholder-driven organization dedicated to the prevention of damage to underground facilities in all 254 Texas counties, promotes the national 811 notification system in an effort to reduce these damages. And whereas damage prevention is a shared responsibility by using safe digging practices, persons living and working in the city of Alpine, Brewster County, and Fort Davis, Jeff Davis County can save time and money and help keep our infrastructure safe and connected. Now, therefore, I, Catherine Eves, Mayor of the City of Alpine, Texas, on behalf of the community, do hereby recognize the month of April 2026 as Alpine Safe Digging Month and encourage excavators and homeowners throughout the city of Alpine and Brewster County to always call 811 before digging. Safe digging is no accident. In witness, I have hereunto set my hand the 7th day of April in the year 2026.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, next, if I may have telecommunicators come on up. Okay, whereas emergencies that require police, fire, and emergency medical services can occur at any time they require police, fire, or emergency medical services. And whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who contact the City of Alpine Emergencies Communications Center. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the single vital link for our police officers and firefighters by monitoring activities by radio, providing them information and ensuring their safety. And whereas public safety telecommunicators of the city of Alpine have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients. And whereas each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in this past year. Now therefore, I, Catherine Eves, Mayor of the City of Alpine, Texas, on behalf of the community, do hereby recognize April 12th, 2026 to April 18th, 2026 as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in Alpine, Texas, in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our citizens and our city safe. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand the 7th day of April in the year 2026. All right, if I can have animal services come on up. Whereas the National Animal Control Association has designated the second week of April each year as Animal Care and Control Officer Appreciation Week. And whereas the various state, federal, and local government officials throughout the country take this time to recognize, thank, and commend all animal control officers and animal control staff for the dedicated service they provide to citizens, various public safety, public service agencies, and departments across the country. And whereas every day an animal control officers put themselves in potentially dangerous situations to protect the health and welfare of all kinds of animals and the public. And whereas the city of Alpine would like to express its sincere thanks and appreciation for the outstanding service the Alpine Animal Control officers and staff provide on a daily basis to the citizens of the city and the various public safety, public service agencies and departments. And whereas the city of Alpine recognizes and commends Jennifer Stewart, supervisor, Samantha Johnson, Morgan Gottlieb, and Nicole Anderson, animal service officers, and Yuritsa Garcia and Asia Weiser, animal shelter staff, for the many dedicated and long hours in serving this community, and for fulfilling the animal service commitment to providing the highest and most efficient level of customer service. And whereas the city of Alpine recognizes the animal control officers who answer calls for assistance, capturing roaming and potentially dangerous animals, rescue animals in distress, investigate reports of animal cruelty and neglect, provide education for pet guardians about responsible pet care, and mediate disputes between neighbors involving conflicts regarding animals. Now therefore, I, Catherine Eves, Mayor of the City of Alpine, Texas, on behalf of the community, do hereby recognize April 12th through April 18th as National Animal Care and Control Officer Appreciation Week in the city of Alpine, Texas. And I encourage all citizens to join me in expressing their sincere appreciation for the service and dedication of our animal control officers and staff. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand the 7th day of April in the year 2026.
Right.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to community interest items. City Secretary, each member gets 1 minute on the clock. Starting now for mayor announcements. Okay, remember the 17th and 19th of April is the Gem and Mineral Show. April 18th, we have the Dark Sky Celebration and Earth Day. April 24th and 25th, we have Spirits of the West. May 1st and 2nd, we are celebrating Cinco de Mayo. Okay, and city manager announcements.
You covered everything I had here, but let's get one thing off. So, this week, well, if the weather permits, we're gonna be filming the new asphalt zipper and the loader. We went out last week and took a look at it. They were testing it and kind of stuff like that, but
Looks great.
we're gonna see what we can do to film it in action, like a before and after. Okay?
Love that. It's posted on the city website, YouTube
Yes.
channel.
Yes.
All right, and 1 minute for each council member, city secretary, starting with Councilmember Stevens.
Thanks, Mayor. The only thing I have to add is there's an elder care study working group tomorrow at the old schoolhouse, tomorrow 5:30.
Great. Councilmember Escobedo. Councilmember Lucas.
No.
Councilmember Martinez. Councilmember Portillo.
No, ma'am, thank you.
Okay. And moving on to changes to posted agenda. Council, are there any items to be continued or withdrawn?
9B, continued, next council meeting, April the 21st.
Okay, so I just need a second and a motion, a second, and a majority vote.
I'll make the move to move to the next meeting.
Okay, I need a second.
A sec.
Okay, and let's vote.
Aye.
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 City Secretary, Council voted unanimously to move item 9B to the next city council meeting. Council, are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda? Seeing none. Council, are there any items to be added to the consent agenda? Okay, seeing none. Okay, we're moving on to time sensitive items. We do have a time sensitive item, item 10C, information and discussion item C. We needed to move that up because we have guests here to speak on this for us. John Condon is here. And is there anybody else? Okay. And so that is by simple request, so we're gonna move that on up. Okay, so moving to time sensitive items. Time sensitive item 10C, discussion regarding the 2021 interlocal agreement memorandum of understanding between the city of Alpine and Sul Ross University for the development, maintenance, and improvement of Coconut Park and related properties, including a review of the agreement terms, obligation of each party, funding considerations, and potential future coordination efforts. Okay, so I put this on the agenda because it was brought to my attention that in 2021, it was the MOU, memorandum of understanding, signed between the city of Alpine and Sul Ross State University regarding the Coconut Lodge area, including that amphitheater, the rock amphitheater that's behind the lodge, close to the loop. I know Adelina is here. Adelina, if you'd come on up, had started work on some of the things that the city of Alpine said that we would take care of in this memorandum of understanding. And if you guys would flip to page one,
61 in the.
page 61 under information and discussion. All right, so page 61, it talks a little bit about the MOU, and then it is included in your packet, council, so that you can see what our obligations are on page 64 of the 161 pages. It says the city of Alpine agrees to, so these are the things back in 2021, we said we would start working on so that that area can be utilized, and maybe some of the water features brought back. And I know that Mike, the utilities department, and our city manager Henry ran out there to see what the irrigation system was like. And so we can hear a little bit of that. And then we have Dr. John Klingeman here to discuss their thoughts. We also have Heather Yaden and Chris Ruggia here with their ideas on using that rock amphitheater this summer just for some music series in July. And that had to do with the museum on Main Street. Okay, one of our obligations required with that. So we have several individuals who will probably speak this evening. But we'll start with Adelina and Mike. Y'all can tell us how we're progressing with the things that the city of Alpine said they would do in this MOU, which is for 30 years, by the way, which gives us access to use this and work on it.
Hi, my name's Adelina Bell, Environmental Services Administrator. And like the mayor said, we did start part of these projects. These were strategies, water conservation strategies for the Texas Water Development Board plan. We did successfully add them to the plan, so we're eligible to get funding. So the first strategy is using stormwater from Fighting Buck and Hendricks Loop on 2 rain gardens, entering Coconut, going to Poets Grove, and going to the creek. We started the grassland restoration section with our previous utilities director, and we did everything in-house, the grubbing, the mesquite, and we didn't get it completely eradicated just because we didn't have the right equipment, but we did proceed with seeding with funding from the ABC Birds and Rio Grande joint venture. But we didn't get the rain we were planning for in June, so I don't think the seeding was successful. The water for the ponds, that's where we ended. We were gonna send water from the wastewater treatment plant to a new tank next to the golf course tank, and then utilize that water to start the creek restoration and the potential ASR, that's aquifer surface recharge. So the idea behind it is if you supplement this water on the ponds, eventually through time, it'll infiltrate and maybe bring the water level up. That's how it qualifies for the Texas Water Development Board funding. So that's where we are right now. I spoke with Mike about the TCQ authorization, and he can explain a little bit on that.
Good evening, everybody. Mike Macias, Utilities Director for the City of Alpine. Yeah, we absolutely can give water effluent, or I guess reclaimed water. I think that was in the part of the plan. I can contact TCQ and see how we need to move forward with that. We already give we supply a little bit of water for, or effluent, I should say, to the golf course.
Yep.
So it's something that's feasible. I think we can go different ways. We could either use the tank there and kind of divert tank a line to the Coconut Lodge. They're pretty close, or we can even cut in before we get to the tank and move that way. Also, we have a tank at the wastewater plant that has never been used. I've been at the plant since 2010, and there's a tank there. I don't know how much. Maybe it's, I don't know. Gosh, like maybe 3,000 gallons. And I can look into it. Maybe we can move it if need be. So we have some options. I think my first course of action is to contact TCQ and see what we can do about that. We do take samples from the golf course annually to see what type of alkalinities in the soil from irrigation. And we pass so far. The benefit that we have with that is that we don't have any industrial businesses here that can hinder the sample. So we're pretty good on that. So it seems like a pretty solid plan that we could give effluent to or charge the creek or the Coconut Lodge in Summary Pond.
How long do you think it would take TCEQ to approve that? Because we're hoping to have the summer concert series there. I'm not sure that we necessarily need the water there for this, but
Right.
it would be nice to have greenery.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, absolutely.
But what are your thoughts on that?
I would think it would take no more than a couple months from start to finish. If I contact them soon enough. Of course, I don't know. I don't think it should take that long. Since we already give water to the golf course,
Right.
I think if anything, we're going further into the golf course, so we go closer to the Coconut Lodge. I think it'd be okay. I think it would maybe a couple months at max.
Okay. Okay, Adelina?
The only issue I see in that is because it is reclaimed water, it would have to be properly secured. Just if we have the ponds, we don't want people going swimming or dipping or fishing or, because it is reclaimed water, so it's not gonna look pretty at the beginning. It's gonna be probably enclosed
Right.
or, yeah, or secure.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, 'cause we don't, yeah, it's like gray water. from
Yeah.
a RV or
Mhm.
travel trailer.
Well, it's true, it's reclaimed water, so it's better quality than that, but it's still not potable water. Mhm.
So, sorry to
Mhm,
interrupt you, but,
sorry.
the effluent, it's treated water, so we treat it with chlorine. And there's parameters we have within the permit, and if once we, obligate that, we're allowed to discharge it to the state of Texas, so, we can go, so it's not really gray water, it is not drinkable. We also do, well, we used to do tests, but now since we went down from permit from a B license to a C license, we don't have to do, I think every quarter we have to do fathead minnow and water fleet, and we have to sustain life for a certain amount of time and reproduce, and we would have to, that would show that we're giving good water to the state of Texas, and we've been passing those as well.
And Adelina, you had mentioned something about the land still needs to be cleared of mesquite. We didn't,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
So
And I-
repeat that again?
So, the grassland restoration, we need to come in with a professional, maybe secure some funding to pay somebody who does this professionally, so they can clear all the mesquite. And then maybe go again for that same grant if it's available, or with guidance with local experts in town, pick a right seed mix and purchase it ourselves, and a couple of groups, partners in this projects, they did it in-house too. So they seeded it for us, so maybe we can find another way to do that, maybe next year for the June rains. Mhm,
For the June.
mhm. But we would need
Costs back.
to see where we're gonna get the
Yeah.
funding for all that material. Mhm.
And Mike, Henry was saying that y'all went out there and looked, and there is some type of irrigation system
Uh,
that's connected to city water. out
Yes,
there?
ma'am. To my knowledge, and I spoke with, one of the supervisors from Saul Ross this morning. And I asked if they, irrigate. There is a system out there that they have irrigation. We don't have any access to it, or we don't maintain it in any regard. But he said that they did for a while. If you go look, it hasn't been, irrigated for a while, but there is access points and irrigation there. So yes, ma'am, it can be.
Councilmember Portillo, any questions? We have others that are gonna stand up and speak, but
No, ma'am.
Councilmembers? Councilmember Ricketts? Councilmember Escobedo? Councilmember Stevens?
So I'm just trying to get a picture of what we're trying to achieve out there because it drives a couple questions. So what's the vision of what we're trying to do there?
Well, I think it's twofold. First, we want to rehabilitate that rock area that have theater so that we can have events there.
That I get.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that. part in a
Exactly,
second.
we're talking
And
water right
then
now.
the other part, the MOU pretty much deals with this.
Yeah.
Of it, what Adeline is talking
So
about.
it's,
Come on up too, Chris.
Mhm.
Sure. Got some things you can do. So-
I can answer some of your questions there. Chris Ruggia, the Director of Tourism. So in 2021, there was I was working with the city manager, and then we gathered together various stakeholders at the university with the idea of recharging those ponds at Coconut Lodge, basically as a birding habitat, to improve birding habitat. And then when that conversation started, there's two kinds of birding habitats. There's the riparian habitat where with water birds are drawn to, migrating birds are drawn to that. But grasslands are a major bird habitat that is in great danger, and we're losing a lot of that. So that's where the second piece came in. And so that Poets Grove and behind the soccer fields, that area was added. That's the area of that where they're trying to do the reseeding, the restoration of that grassland area to try and develop that as that one kind of habitat. The creek area and those ponds as these other kind of habitat. And then the final piece would be, once those are healthier and bringing birds in, to put in a bird blind in the in the grassy part and to have some walking paths along the water and through that grassy area. So it would be basically a birding area and an interpretive signage and things like that. So that's the kind of with the water and the grass that we're talking about.
So, and part of the reason I asked that is we talk about affluent water. Mike, this is your area. I know there's two different levels of affluent water. The ones we're sending to the golf course right now, because the golf course can use affluent water, but you can't put it at a park. But now that we have the second system in place, we're gonna be able to increase our affluent water quality that it could be used to resolve Adelena's concern about having to protect from it, taking it to a type 2, which would then allow you to use it for public lands.
Yes, that's exactly right. We'd have to contact TCQ and see if it's even at this point, we're able to do that.
Okay. So will that be part of what you talked to
Yes,
TCQ about?
yes, absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely.
okay. Related to that then, percolation rates. If we're trying to recharge the aquifer, get water in, flows on down, does its thing.
Mhm.
Are we, if we're trying to create a pond out there, do we understand the percolation rates, which is the rate at which water flows through to be able to sustain it?
I don't have that answer, but Kevin Urbanzik at the university.
Yep.
That's his piece.
Yep.
And so I know at the GeoFest, he was kind of surveying the pond, the empty ponds.
Yep.
And so he has a plan. So anything that we do related to that, when we're thinking about, okay, we're ready to start thinking about putting that water in, I would absolutely bring Kevin to the table.
Okay, because at some point, and in my view, this is a great vision, at some point, we want to get down to that path. And so it's because it's going to drive how much affluent water it's going to consume based upon percolation rates as it tries to rework that, which drives the other one back to TECQ. Okay, you've answered my questions. Thanks very much. Got a lot of work to do.
Okay, all right, Heather, if you want to come up and talk about your vision and how we discussed the summer concert series and what the
Sure.
museum on Main Street is, and Dr. John Klingeman.
Yeah,
You wanna
we
join
met out,
us?
I say we
Yes.
met out there last
Yeah.
week, so we
So
can
we
talk.
have a School Ross representative here. Ben Telesco was going to be here, but he said a conference in another city.
The call,
Yeah.
I think, or something.
So,
Yeah, so the Smithsonian is coming to Alpine in July. The museum of the Big Ben was one of 6 places chosen to host the exhibit that is called Spark Places of Innovation. And the first thing everyone thinks about on innovation is technology, but there's actually 4 pillars that are going to be focused in the exhibit. It's culture, social, art, and technology. So the thought and part of the program is Museum on Main Street. Part of it is coming from the Texas Historic Commission, and that's taking the message of the exhibit into the communities that are represented through our entire Texas Mountain Trail region, which is a huge region. So we have a big task of having all this outreach throughout the entire region. So the idea of using Coconut Lodge for one of these is dual, because it's cultural, because we exist because of that spring. That's why the railroad stopped. And then it would also cover the art pillar of things, because we want to have a music series out there. So the idea is to have concerts under the stars in July. And what we talked about was really just trying to clean the space up a little bit, but using it as is. They have the GeoFest there. It is usable. Ben really wants us to get some, like, he'll help us with the wording on the signage. Like, there's going to be uneven surfaces. It's not totally accessible. And that's things that are not going to be fixed by July. I do think that if we host things out there and people see the potential of Coconut Lodge, that then they'll be more inclined to support bigger restoration of the actual lodge that's not included in the water agreement part of it. That's more John's vision. So,
Oh,
yeah,
thank you.
I don't know if you have anything to add.
Mayor Reeves, city council members, thank you very much for the opportunity to come in and discuss this ongoing project. And, as administrators at Sul Ross State University, we're fundamentally supportive of these efforts because it brings us together as an entity with a common goal. And I can tell you that as an administrator, I look at it even further as an opportunity for educational components for our students, so that if there is a restoration, then this can only benefit our students who seek degrees in the numerous science fields. So it's a multiple, multi-layered effort, and we're fundamentally supportive. And so I look forward to working with folks, given that we have this first meeting to establish some parameters, and then from there move forward. But anything that we can do to assist, certainly are more than glad to do that.
And I know Dr. Hernandez couldn't be here this evening, but he said he was all for it. And we had provided, I believe in that email correspondence, the dates for the concerts that.
Yeah, so we're
Others-
looking at doing Tuesdays in July. I don't remember the exact days now, but it would be Tuesday evenings to not conflict with the Theater of the Big Bend that will be going on right there, because that's Thursday through Sunday. And it's also not a night that we have like live music at our regular venues. So we were looking at 8 to 10. We don't have a ton of promotion of the arts money ourselves, so we are going to look for sponsorship for paying the musicians. But we also talked about possibility of like having some vendor type people out there. But that's again, we're going to reach out to like our community partners to help coordinate that. We'll really focus on music, getting those people booked and funded. And we do have to look at lights. That was something that came up in our meeting, that the musicians will need some lights to even see to play, but we don't want to we're not going to light it up a bunch, because the whole idea is to have concerts under the stars. So that's what we're going to move forward with, is trying to, since we have their blessing and to use the space. They even offered to open the restrooms for us during it, so that's cool. Out there, because the lodge does still have functioning restrooms, but we wouldn't be inside at all. It'd all be outside in the amphitheater portion for what we want to do for the July concert series.
And I know that when you said that was in one of your meetings, y'all met last Friday or Thursday.
Yeah.
And walked through some things out there. Was that what the result of that was? Just about the lighting?
Yeah, lighting, about like I said, signage, about basically I asked questions about, do you want us to restrict access to any areas, and Ben really said no. He's like, it's not really possible out there, that he's okay with using the space. We did talk, and Adelina and I talked a little bit today about doing her June cleanup out there, just to help with some of that, to help them, because they're like everybody, they're stretched for staff. So the only thing we were looking at was maybe like removal of some of the broken picnic tables, and things like that. But this would be, bring your own chairs and lawn chairs or blankets, whatever, to sit on to enjoy the music. It's not going to be like us setting up a bunch of stuff. It's going to be very, intimate.
Yes.
And like said,
Outdoorsy.
yeah, that's the whole idea.
Casual.
Yes, very, very casual.
Now, I know that our current Army unit here is
Mhm.
always looking to volunteer.
Chris passed along that contact already to, yes, he did out there that day.
And then I know that this year's Leadership Big Bend class is doing a volunteer thing, so
Mhm.
maybe they can find some volunteers.
The tough thing about students is it's July, and that's like, I know they're targeting like students with it. So that's where the university isn't gonna have their normal like manpower at that time. But I think that a lot of people were very enthusiastic about using the space after they went to GeoFest and enjoyed it. Like I said, I got married there. I love it. I'm all for using it. So I would love to see more stuff there. I think that, again, if we have stuff there, people are going to see that it's a beautiful historic space that can be enjoyed by everybody.
So you don't think there'll be problems finding volunteers to come help?
No, I think we can get people.
Okay, great. All right, so Councilmember Stevens,
Nothing else, thank you. Thanks, good idea.
Councilmember Escobedo,
Oh, it's a great idea.
Councilmember Lucas, Councilmember Martinez, Councilmember Patia.
I'm in.
Okay, thank you guys. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. All right, so that took care of time sensitive item 10C. All right, moving on to consent agenda, City Secretary.
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight's consent agenda contains one item. Item A, approval of the March 17th, 2026 special and regular meeting minutes.
May I need a motion?
I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I need a second.
Second.
Let's vote.
Aye.
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 City Secretary, Council voted unanimously to approve the consent agenda as written. Okay, there were no items removed from the consent agenda. Moving on to reports and presentations, 6 minutes, and there could be an additional 4 for questions from council. Report and presentation A belongs to our city manager. If you would please read that out and begin the discussion, Henry.
So presentation of the City of Alpine 2025 annual report, including an overview of departmental operations, performance metrics, major projects, staffing changes, grant activity, and strategic planning efforts. So it's a report on all the different departments, all the different statistics. In general, it is my privilege to present the City of Alpine's 2025 end of the year report. This report serves as a comprehensive snapshot of the year, offering an overview of the progress, challenges, and milestones we have achieved as a city government in 2025. The purpose of this report is to highlight the collective accomplishments of our various departments and celebrate the dedication and hard work of our city staff. 2025 was a challenging year with the city manager, chief of police, and utilities manager leaving the city. Our interim city manager maintained the course for 7 months until I had the opportunity to join the City of Alpine in January 2026. This report not only showcases our successes, but also sets the stage for continued growth and collaboration in the years to come. I'm enthusiastic and thankful for your continued support and engagement as we work together to make Alpine stronger and more vibrant. So the office of the city manager had a transition in June 2025. We had an interim from June through December 2025. Many thanks to Gio Calderon, who stepped up, presented a budget balance and a capital improvement plan, established a couple of new full-time positions, deputy city secretary, economic development administrator, and grant writer. There was an employee appreciation events, was the 3rd annual award banquet, which everybody had fun at. The National Public Service Recognition Week, the Smash Burger Cook-Off competition. And so goes on to the next page. So these are just statistics from the office of the city manager, the past ordinances, the past resolutions, regular council meeting, workshops, board meetings, and then the government activity reports. Next page is the human resources. There were 60 interviews, 36 onboards, 3 hiring events, successful employment defenses 5, and special employee events 3. We have the statistics on payroll benefits. Next page is the finance department, just kind of the volume of work that they do, how many purchase orders for 2024, 2025, how many invoices they process for 2024 and 2025, and how many cash receipts for 2024 and 2025. Grants, the grants for 2025 airport, there was the TxDOT Aviation, the ramp routine airport maintenance program grant, the airport layout plan, automated weather observing system relocation grant. Alpine Police Department had the high intensity drug traffic in the area, the Operation Lone Star, body armor, heavy duty rifle resistant vets grant, ballistic resistant shield grant, and the 2 mobile digital message boards camera grant. Environmental Services had the Keep Alpine Beautiful grant, the solid waste tire disposal grant, and Parks had the Pueblo Nuevo Park completed. The Utilities Department had the FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Program with the Texas Department of Emergency Management, generators for the Water Department, pumps and wells. Wastewater had the Texas Water Development Board Asset Management Program for small systems, and the flood mitigation by RealCog, Texas Water Development Board floodplain management. The Gas Department, Texas Municipal League Intergovernmental Risk Pool Audit, May 7th, performance rating of 100%. The percentage of the total score, documents and records, 15 out of 15%. Pipeline safety compliance, 20 out of 20. Unaccounted for gas, 20 out of 20. Safety and training, 15 out of 15. Qualification of personnel, 15 out of 15. Gas system condition and integrity, 15 out of 15. 2025 performance rating, 100%. 2024 performance rating, 90%. The Utilities Department had some new positions created. The Assistant Director of Utilities, some part-time, water meter readers, infrastructure repairs, completed multiple infrastructure repairs and routine maintenance tasks. Completion of work orders, successfully addressed and completed submitted work orders. The required reporting, completed all monthly, quarterly, and annual reports. Procured contractor for second phase of wastewater treatment plant repairs. The lead and copper, they did their first round of inventory and sent the information to TCQ for the first 2 samples of first repairs. Environmental Services had the Keep Alpine Beautiful Administrator Training. 13 webinars, 18 of which were KDB trainings, completed 14 hours of continued education, then 5 webinars for recycling and environmental law enforcement trainings. Texas Disposal System returned 0 negative reports on loads from Alpine 2025, concluding there was little to no contamination in the recyclable material deliveries. And 2025, approximately 411.85 tons of cardboard, mixed paper, plastics, tin, aluminum, newspapers, tires, and electronics were recycled, extended the landfill's life by an estimated 21 days. The utility customer service billing infrastructure repairs and maintenance, completed essential infrastructure repairs and routine maintenance, completion of work orders. Let's see. Public Works Department, building maintenance had 120 work orders completed, vehicle maintenance, 243 work orders. Parks and Recreation Department completed 16 work orders for parks. American Legion Improvements replaced fiberglass and roof panels and planted 3 trees. Baines Park Improvement installed a new park sign, new sprinkler system timers, and repainted picnic tables. Centennial Park Improvements repainted the stucco wall and limestone structure and repainted the park signs. The Dog Park Improvements installed the new shade structure. The Coconut Park Improvements repainted existing picnic tables, added 1 new picnic table, and planted 8 new trees. The Medina Park Improvements completed dead tree removal. Pool Improvements repainted the pool floor and pool house floor. Pueblo Nuevo Park Improvements completed electrical work, installed new grills and playground equipment, and replaced the park sign. All field improvements placed new signs and new scoreboards on International Field. And Public Works Streets Department established official addresses and geographic information systems coordinates for all fields, parks, and memorial sites. Initiated and implemented all safety, fire, and emergency protocols. Completed 186 street work orders, successfully integrated new equipment, including 930 M loader, asphalt zipper, and hot box. Completed 31 blocks of seal code application. Building Services had a value of 79,530 in permits. Permit applications 455, each having at least 1 or more inspections. Code cases 499, demolition 6. Short-term rental inspection, 93 active applications with inspection, 16 new applications. Commercial new construction, Holland and Maverick Restoration. Old Crystal Bar conversion to Sunshine House mixed use. The Crisis Center renovation, the Tech Pack new office, Holiday Inn and Suites remodel, and the 1000 East Lechuguilla Skyway Phase 2 ongoing. The Building Services also new residential homes, 6 in total. And there's zoning articles, basic ordinance, general zoning, and regulations updates. The Alpine Municipal Airport had increase in their fuel revenue and fuel gallons sold by quite a bit. There's a lot of activity going on out there. Alpine Police Department calls for service, 7,246, 911 calls, 2,653. Traffic stops, 3,119, arrests, 160, assaults, 92, narcotics and alcohol, 130, crimes against person and property, 159, and traffic accidents, 97. Animal Service also has a lot of activity, 1,303 calls for service, stray intake, 230, return to owner, 139, 46 surrenders, 5 intake due to arrest, 1 seizure warrant, 27 transfer from other rescue, 20 feral cat intakes, 85 adopted, 83 transported, 13 quarantined, medical euthanasia 5, behavioral euthanasia 4, died in care 6, 15 microchips placed, 36 reported bites, 267 citations issued. Municipal Court, total new cases in 2025, 855, 571 are Alpine PD citations, 271 are animal control citations, 13 code enforcement and environmental. Most common is speeding, 236, animals at large, 89, public intoxication, 52. Visit Alpine, Texas. Alpine had 235,400 visitors according to Placer Visitor Dashboard. Placer estimates 314,600 visits to Big Bend National Park. Using their number, 75% of park visitors also come through Alpine. Hotel occupancy tax collected 24-25 fiscal year, 731,962. Hotel occupancy tax granted same year, funded and administered 26 grants for a total of 400,000. Grants represent 55% of hot tax collection for the year, with the remainder funding all visitor center expenses, tourism promotions and advertising, and director of tourism contract. Online promotions through the website, 291,633 page views for 145,972 visitors. Mobile app, interactive web map, 61,188 page views for 24,103 visitors. Facebook, 4,830,447 post views. Instagram, 1,361,399 post views. Travel Texas Digital Co-op ads, 5,540,380 impressions. And events hosted by Visit Alpine, Wildlife Weekend, Dark Sky Celebration, Make Music Day, Pumpkin Giveaway, Viva Big Band, Alpine Photo Contest Reception, Hometown Christmas Parade, and Big Bend Community Band Christmas Concert, 51 Alpine Farmers Markets. Visit Alpine winner, 6 Texas Travel Awards, Best Views statewide, Hancock Hill. Best Instagrammable spot, The Desk. Best outdoor activity, Big Bend Stargazing. Best public art, Downtown Murals. Best live music venue, The Ritchie. Best museum, Museum of the Big Bend. And then the Visit Alpine Texas statewide PR and marketing event, San Angelo Rodeo, Texas Travel Expo, State Fair of Texas, and Austin Film Festival. Is that under 10 minutes? Right. Okay. A lot of work, a lot of activity.
A lot of good things for the city of Alpine, and we're continuing in that venue. All right, Councilmember Portillo,
No, ma'am.
Councilmember Martinez.
Thank you.
No comments, but thank you. It was a really good information, a lot of work.
Yes, I love the format that you used to put this
Yes.
together for us. Councilmember Ricketts, Councilmember Escobedo,
No, thank you.
Councilmember Stevens.
Just the same comment. It's a great report. Lots of accomplishments, lots to be proud of.
Great. All right, so that takes care of reports and presentations. Moving on to information or discussion items. Discussion item A, Councilmember Martinez, if you would read that and begin the discussion for us.
Thank you. Discussion and possible action regarding city council support for the Texas Downtown Association Regional Roundtable to be held on July 9-10, 2026, including consideration of funding in the amount of $500 for the rental of the Granada venue, participation in the Fit and Holland ribbon cutting event, in consideration of a name for the public plaza located at Fifth Street and Holland Avenue, recently acquired by the city. Alpine will host the Texas Downtown Regional Roundtable in July this year in 3 months. Visit Alpine was one of the 4 cities across the state selected to host a roundtable this year. And because Alpine is a remote location, this time will be 1.5 days of conference. The second day on Friday, July 10, will be hosted in the Granada. They only are asking for $500, and the city council has been asked to support this event. Each one of us will donate $100 for our funds. Also, has a part of the conference of the second day will be the ribbon cutting on the corner of the Fit and Holland at 3 p.m. It would be good if we name it before the ribbon cutting. And for more information, we have Heather and they can explain more all about this.
I have Jake on it.
Heather Yaden, Tourism Administrator, for the city of Alpine. So, this is going to be another Spark, Museum on Main Street event, because it falls under the, social, category. It is, well known that we need, more revitalization in downtown all the time. And we need locals to shop downtown, just like our tourists do. So this is all to show off our downtown. We don't usually get conferences here. This luckily is a little bit smaller one, so it didn't require a conference center that was all inclusive. A lot of times they have to have full restaurant, bar, and like 100 rooms to even bid for these things. But this one is because they do it as regionals roundtables, it didn't require that. They actually reached out to us because they wanted they wanted to come west, and we were the logical choice. So we submitted. Texas Downtown has over 500 members. All of them will be invited to come. Typical attendance on these is 75 to 100 people. So the first half day will be at the museum and will be all about how to host a Smithsonian exhibit that will be the museum and the Texas Mountain Trails and the Texas Historic Commission teaching attendees because it's all about educating the people who come on these things. So we'll be up there that day because this Museum on Main Street program is going to be continuing. There'll be chances for other communities to apply in the following years. We actually didn't get selected the first year that the museum applied to be a museum on Main Street because
Because our application was too strong.
yeah, they were looking for things that weren't as established. Our museum is very established. And but we got selected in the second go round. So that's what all of this is tied into. So that'll be the first day. And the museum has they're giving their facility in kind, and we'll do tours of the exhibit and everything there. And then the second day, we're going to be downtown, talking all about downtown. And that's the obvious choice is the Granada. It's the largest space down there to host this many people, and Ben offered it to us for $500. Typically, this host city pays for the venue for these Texas Downtown Regional Roundtables. So that's what we're asking for, is if each council person would give from their discretionary to help pay for the Granada fee. We have to then seek bigger sponsorship. Their sponsorship levels are $500, $1,000, and that's to help cover lunches and then the travel of the Texas Downtown people to come here. And we are really we're working on reaching out to our larger area tourism partners, because we do not want to fund this on the backs of the downtown businesses. That's not the point of this. It's their chance to be showcased, not to ask them to help fund anything. So we're not looking for smaller sponsorship from them. It's looking for larger sponsorship, but for y'all, we're asking for the $500. And then one of the last sessions of the day is going to be how to bring murals to your town. We answer phone calls weekly from towns that are interested in what we did here. Ours is a very grassroots effort. So Carrie from Art Walk will be doing part of that presentation. But the counterbalance to that will be our friend Randy Ham, who used to be the head of Odessa Arts, and he did it differently. He used public money on private buildings all through downtown Odessa. So he's going to explain how that process works and offer those two perspectives. And then after that is when we want to cut the ribbon on the lot downtown, because we will have 75 to 100 people there to help us celebrate. And it really shows how the city has invested in our downtown with purchasing that. And for it would be nice to have a name on the ribbon. Eddie and his team went after the rains on Sunday. Yesterday, they removed some of the vegetation. Now you can see where it used to have a name on the wall and no longer does. He cut out all the overgrown cactus and stuff. It already looks way better. So whenever we do decide a permanent name, there's obviously a place where it would belong. But Chris and I have ideas.
Yeah, we'd like to suggest that we call it Art Walk Plaza for a couple different reasons. One, it acknowledges one of our largest and most profitable events. It's also the event that really started the mural program in downtown Alpine. So they funded our large scale murals by Style Reed that then kickstarted all the smaller murals that happened after. And the last reason is that could be the start of our visitors' art walk through seeing all the murals in downtown Alpine. So we thought that would be a fitting name if you followed it.
After we cut the ribbon, we're actually going to break the group up into smaller groups and do tours through downtown to show them our historic and mural tour. So working on a new map for that, we would center everything, would then send the historic tour starts at the train station, but we would combine them and make that where they all start from. So that's why we're thinking you would start your art walk here. One of the things we want to eventually do at the lot is interpretive sign like we've done at Coconut and like we have over on Murphy Street. And that one of them would focus on art. The other ones would focus on dark skies. So those are things that would all tie in with it too.
It's very exciting. And on page 53 of 161 council are the rules that we have and city currently has in place for naming a building or an area, naming after a person's after death, naming after elected officials typically after they have died, naming after a donor or donation. We didn't have that. Naming after predominant natural features such as geographic, geological, ecological, etc. Naming after an adjoining street or subdivision, a historic event, location, or landmark, and street names may be proper nouns, or the basic pieces to take away there. And your suggestion was Art Walk Plaza?
It was called Kiowa Plaza before,
Uh-huh.
but now Kiowa Gallery is no longer there. So that's when, naming something after something like that, they used to be tied together and then they no longer were. So the name was taken off. Art Walk, whereas, I don't see that festival going anywhere, but if it would still make sense because we would start our Art Walk there. That's why the dual purpose of the name is nice.
You have brochures, right, for the Art Walk tour that visitors.
Yeah, so we already
A
have
mural tour.
Yeah.
that Visitors can pick up
Yeah.
at the visitor center.
that, but that's what we're looking at updating because Chris made the historic tour many moons ago. Because it doesn't change, but the mural tour, we've added so many, it really needs a big update right now. So this is going to be the perfect time to work on making that happen. It also is pretty large, both that and the historic tour are larger than what most of our walking visitors actually want to do. It's a little bigger, so we'll concentrate the area and have them start from right there together.
Councilmember Martinez?
I was just thinking, do we have to decide today about the $500 or we still? What will be done next?
It would
Maybe we
probably
decide.
be good. I mean, we don't have to, but
If everybody agrees, then we can arrange it for you. Does anybody not agree?
Take it out of our discretion.
Okay, perfect.
I did save you a little bit on your dinner, so.
No, you did a great job.
I did spend the whole amount of a lot of there, but
I
no,
was reading some of the other names that you were thinking of, visit Alpine Plaza, so that.
I think we'll have it heavily branded enough with the visitor center kiosk that we don't need to put our brand on the front of it too. Because it's not just ours, it's really, we want it for the community. So I think it's more,
It will be more identified, like our Walk Plaza.
Yeah, and we really like the idea of acknowledging the work of the volunteers who made that happen and kept it going for 30 years.
they just paid salary to come back last year and brighten up the murals. They did, it made a huge difference. So they're still investing in that. It's never ending because of our son. No matter how much of the protecting stuff they put on them, they're gonna always need updating and they're the ones doing that. That's not our money doing that. That's not any, donors. That's all their fundraising that makes that happen.
But we already have the schedule for the ambassadors to go and do the ribbon cutting, so
Perfect.
we're ready, so.
now going back to the Texas Downtown Association Regional Roundtable, July 9th through 10th, is that open to everybody?
So it is, and actually, it's a really reasonable conference rate. We go to conferences and they're hundreds to get our continuing education and things like that. This is only, it's $100 for Texas downtown members, and then it's $150 for non-members, but Alpine people will get a local rate of $100, member or not. So, it'll be open to anybody. There is gonna be advanced registration, and that will guarantee you get lunch, but anybody can just walk up and join day of. So that's why we are confident in making it an event for Museum on Main Street, because somebody could just decide that they want to attend and not have to plan too far out.
Who does that money go to?
The registration fee, it goes to them to putting on the conference, because they're going to be doing all the marketing and to support the Texas Downtown Association. They also will help with the lunch cost. That's the biggest cost, is providing everybody with a meal. But what we're being asked to do is the facility rental fee. And then, like I said, they asked us to find at least 2 more sponsors, which we've talked with Visit Big Bend and already, but like that's obviously we're gonna start with the people that we know, which is our music friendly region, and then our other tourism people that are in this area.
And that $100, that includes, I see snacks.
Yeah, so
And
we
then a lunch on the second day.
yeah, we haven't confirmed all those people. That's like so whenever we submitted this back in, I don't know when I submitted the application.
Yeah.
It was like October, and I had to have an agenda with it. So we put together an agenda, and then we've been altering it as we go. Cedar Coffee is gonna provide the coffee in the morning, and we're gonna get a chance to tell everyone about our Alpine Coffee Club program. So Adelina and I will be there passing out the coffee cups and telling them, and Mateo will serve everybody in the cups, and because everybody loves that sustainability program for their downtowns. So actually Texas Historic Commission presented on it at a different regional roundtable already because they were here and got the cups and they wanted it. So we'll have a chance to highlight all those things that make us special. And with the tours, it's going to be a good chance for all these people to go around town. And we don't have on there yet, but like we'll even put on there that they in the evening they can see the play, because the play will be going on at the time at the Theater of the Big Bend. So there's going to be lots of opportunities for other stuff for them to do while they're here.
Yeah.
There's not baseball, unfortunately. I wish there was a baseball game, but there's not. They're out of town that weekend. So yeah, that didn't work out.
Wait, Councilmember Ricketts?
Actually pretty excited for this event. I'm glad it's open to the public, but definitely doing it off the thing. I'm looking forward to the game coming out here. So, we're giving $100 of the discretionary funds for it as well. That's all I have. Thank y'all for all that y'all do. I really appreciate y'all.
And your thoughts on the name?
I'm horrible with names. I'm the worst one to ask. I'm sorry. I'm very like.
Well, Chris is good at branding things.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'll leave it to y'all. For it, I think it has a good dual meaning, and then the art walk's been there forever. I grew up going art walk, and with the CA, I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. Hopefully, so I'm staying with it.
Councilmember Escobedo?
I like the name, and I'm really excited that there's gonna be something there. Just kind of kick it off and start it off. You know, I constantly see people walking during the day and looking for the murals and stuff like that, and it's really, really good. So having this right there as a center, I think that's important.
Well, and another piece of it that I'm getting overly ambitious, but I would like to kick off this like a Friday evening every month in downtown. That would be like a destination downtown or tourist in your town to try to drive some people downtown a little bit later. And the lot is going to be the perfect location to host that from. So maybe we'll get it kicked off that Friday, but we'll see, because it's a busy July. We go in May to Kerrville to see the Smithsonian like setup and learn how to do it. Me and Emily from the museum are going to do that. So that's like when it really gets real of seeing what we are going to be then expected to execute, because that Smithsonian exhibit arrives in crates, and then you have to set it up locally, and then you have to pack it up and ship it on to the next place that it goes. And you have to have a local exhibit that goes with it. Luckily, Matt Walter is handling that. So there's a lot of moving parts that are happening in July.
Councilmember Stevens?
Thanks, Mayor. So I support the artwork poll, support $100. And the last I have is a question is, what helped you need getting that thing ready to go? Because when we did the walk the other day, certainly a few electrical, plumbing, and other items need help.
Yeah, so like I said, Eddie's guys, right away, they pulled out the metal gate just when we were standing there, and it looks 100 times better, the metal gate that was on the Holland side, or on the 5th Street side. Eddie's guys cut the trees up already. They pulled out the overgrown cactus. They removed some of the gravel. It was way too thick, and that makes a huge difference in the walking ability in there. Now, Mike and his team are going to cut out all the unnecessary water. There's a lift. I don't know what this is way above my expertise. That's why I had a lot of help out there looking at this, but there's an old lift station to take out. the grease trap to pull out and cap. I mean, just with the food truck on, it looks great, but there's all these weird, like extra old pipes. There's like a electrical thing. There's some there's the old water lines that went into the food truck and all that's still sticking up. Randy and his team are gonna remove the gas and the gas meters because we don't need gas there because we're never gonna have a food truck there. And we don't, and Vice doesn't use gas, so we're gonna be able to get the meter that's in front of the mural actually out of there and not be blocking that little bit of the end that it's like right in front of Haas on that end. So that's the stuff that we looked at, but the electrical is what we can't do in-house because we are not electric providers. The other things our guys are working on. But I think you said the electrical probably is not regulation. So the box needs moved and AEP needs to probably fix a pole. So maybe Richard can help with, can tell us how to fix that. Luckily we have a lot of construction people up here. Because
Did we need a plumber for the grease trap?
no, Mike and his team are gonna be able to do the grease trap. They're gonna be able to pull that and cap that. There was something they might need your tools for, I think, as well.
Say anything that y'all need help with, I'm more than willing to donate.
Yeah, it's there was a certain pipe that they said they don't have the tool for, that would be you.
They want to cap those water lines that are sticking out, dig down a little bit and then just cap them down.
Okay.
There was like blue ones that came up and went into the truck. And then once we get all that water stuff taken care of, we'll turn the water on and see what kind of shape the restroom is in. Because a lot of the neighbors have said they think a pipe busted and that's why they just turned the water off because there was a bunch of water coming out in one of the freezes. But the bathroom is not, it's pretty right now. It's basically because they didn't have a vent in there. There's just like open holes at the top. So like anything's been coming in there. So we'll get some screens over that. But we need to get this stuff taken care of first and then get the water on to see what kind of shape it's in. There is electrical. There's a huge, the higher power in the corner because Art Walk uses that to plug in every year. So there's like this big, huge cord. That's
And that one I think is good shape. I said, Rich, where I need some help is on the backside. The power panel comes to the back of the bathroom. We probably need to move it around on the city-owned side. And there's not a 200 amp breaker there. It's looks like there's a kludge breaker stuck on there. So we need to get that moved around in an area that's accessible for us. So if you get a chance to take a look, that would be helpful.
All right.
We pull some boxes
And there's nothing, we got keys to the restroom thinking something was in there, but there's nothing in there. So, but I do have those keys if anybody wants to go in there and see it. Or if there's anything that leads you to that area and you need in there, I have the key. But yeah, long term, we want to put a stage in front of the calendar mural where we'd have music. We want to put tables out there. We've talked with Walter at Vice about possibly building those, fabricating those. Eddie moved one picnic table from the visitor center already to the little, and people were sitting there today eating lunch in between rain. So that was, the purpose of it is already in use and that's awesome. And then we also want to obviously work on the visitor center kiosk that needs to be there because that is our main purpose is to offer the tourist information. We are hoping maybe to have with the discussion at the Texas Downtown about murals, have Monty paint something there. And he's the first artist I talked to because he has done us very well on stuff in the past, would paint something that would then permanently go in the lot. So it'd be like a demo during the talk, but then we'd have it to go there. And I talked to him maybe about doing like the name, whatever we decide the name to be. Cause like I said, we'll have our brand on stuff and he's painted our logo before, but like, it would be cool to have, if it says Art Walk, it be done more artsy than just a regular print or something. So that's what we talked about.
Question. See, either any of us would like to be part of that, we just paid $100 and we.
So if the city pays the $500 as a sponsor, you'll get so many spots, but like we would like you to welcome the first day and Henry to welcome the second day. So like everybody has a place there. That's not a problem. You're not going to have to, but your sponsorship gets you spots into the conference anyway.
That's good. Okay, Councilmember Portillo, what's your thoughts on the name?
I'm good with it. Good job. Thank y'all.
So do we want to give them our blessing to go forward with the name?
So then somebody has to do a resolution.
Yeah.
Yes.
Leading.
Please
Okay,
add it to
sounds
the
good.
agenda.
Yes.
I just want to thank you all for that hard work that you do. not only this, we are really appreciate what you did for the appreciation dinner. You do an excellent job. We tried you 100%. Keep doing that good work.
Thank you.
And we're here to support you whatever you need.
It was well attended, so good job on y'all's part. When I've done them in the past, there wasn't that many people there, but like we had about 50 plus when I counted, so that was good. And yeah, I hope you all.
Well, can you please put the next day for next year so you won't be too busy?
I can't guarantee that. We'll see. We'll see how many things we have to go to. No, it worked out fine. In March, I don't travel to things because spring break is busy. So
Put in your calendar.
yeah, we will
Please.
for sure. Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, and since it's been an hour and 15 minutes, we're gonna take a 5-minute break. Yeah, I know you're here. It's okay. All right.
For you to work again.
Yeah.
We appreciate everything you've done. It's been 5 minutes.
So I'm all relaxed right now after my son, because I've never had one. I'm learning no fence at night. I don't like people just touching me. That was the first time I've ever had in my house. Like, no, it wasn't. It was nice.
Okay, with that, we are back in session. All right, moving on to information and discussion item B regarding the adoption of the official city of Alpine logo reflecting the city's identity as the heart of the Big Bend Dark Sky Reserve, and authorizing its use for official municipal purposes. If you guys look at page 57 of 161 in your packet, it gives you the rundown in the executive summary. We've been working on this for 6 months. Back on September 30th of 2025, we held a joint city county commissioner meeting where we discussed the regional economic development initiatives, what we wanted to brand the area as Brewster County, and with that, the city of Alpine. We all agreed and voted unanimously that we were going to be the dark sky, what was it, the largest dark sky reserve, so the dark sky capital of Texas. And with that, we were basically going to be the heart of the Big Bend Dark Sky Reserve, since Brewster County is the dark sky capital of Texas. So we've been talking about this since September 30th, which is 6 months ago. And Chris has very graciously and very patiently worked on several versions of the city seal for us. And we went through different renditions. If you look at the back of the page, it talks about when we had a survey that went out to all employees for the city and what their choice was. And then at, I believe, the meeting before the last one, we had asked that we move the home of Sul Ross State University. That was Councilmember Portillo's idea, to the bottom of the seal like we currently have. And Chris has provided 2 different renditions, one with the red splash of color, and then one that keeps it uniform blue. So with that, let's open it up for discussion. Councilmember Portillo.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Chris. I know. And me personally, I would say go with the red, because Sul Ross is red and it kind of sticks out a little bit, you know. Because we kept it blue. On my personal opinion, you know, keep it the blue, kind of just, it does all flow together, but you kind of lose that little aspect that Sul Ross is red and white, in my opinion, but both of them were great. Like it.
Yes, I can't tell you thank you enough for all your hard work. Councilmember Martinez.
Thank you, Chris, for your patience, and I agree with Mr. Portillo. It give a little more color. I know Sul Ross is red, but it give a little bit more color and kind of hands, so I go with almost Sul Ross State and red.
I knew it was gonna hurt you if everything was blue. Yeah.
Councilmember Lucas.
Chris, what do you think about it?
My personal preference is for incision, you know, for tightness. So personally, I like the blue, but the reason, then there's good reasons to go with the red. That's why I wanted to make sure you had both. So I don't have a strong weight on either side. That's just my personal preference, but this is not my logo. This is the city's. And I think there's good, that's 2 good reasons to go with the red.
How do you like that it's, or how it's come along from the first one you've presented to us to how we have it now?
I think it's better. I definitely do. Well, and I'm glad that we were able to incorporate, thanks to your input last time, Brewster County and Sul Ross. And it does have a little more connection to the previous seal in that way, that the information is there. I think that's definitely an improvement.
I like both. I really do like the way it came about. I just wanted your opinion. I can't say that I have a preference one way or the other. I understand where y'all are coming from. I do agree with that. I'm good with the overall, how it's transpired, if you will. But I'm ready to go with it. All right. I like
That's what coins are for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Councilmember Escobedo?
I like the one with the red, I also. And this is just my opinion, I would like to see. Where it says City of Alpine, Texas, maybe a little bit smaller. But to where maybe we could still incorporate the horse in there. I don't know where, I mean, aside from that, I mean, it looks good.
Councilmember Stevens?
Thanks, Mayor. So, yeah, great job, Chris, echo everyone else's comments and helping with your patience to get us to this point. We're a tough crowd. I was really appreciative, Rich, of your comments last time that got us to this one right now, because I think it speaks to all of the elements. I happened to be in a meeting at Sul Ross today. There were 12 people there, and I literally put this and put it on the table. It was 8-4 for the red. So my bias is the same because I think it pulls it out. So I go with the one on the right.
Due to popular demand, that's where I'll go as well.
Yes, I like them both. I do like the red because it's almost like it's bringing it, and holding it, and Councilmember Portillo's comment that Sul Ross is red and white. I get what you're saying too about the blue and the consistency, and but I think that's great. All right, Gio, so we need a resolution. Would you put it on the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay, and it looks like we're leaning towards the red one.
Alrighty, sounds good.
Okay. Thank you
Thank
for all your hard work and all your patience.
Heather,
And it looks beautiful.
we were going to the light.
Thank you.
I don't have it, I was hoping that you would hold it up.
Oh.
You like them both?
Yeah. A lot of times you're gonna be printing in the single color anyway, because it costs a fortune to print in color. So really, Chris simplifying the design is what's gonna help out the most. Because this now is a lot busy, so it doesn't come out real low. So I think that it'll be fine.
Yeah, we're gonna need to do a lot of test printing in various ways to make sure, because as you guys noticed that first time you were looking, that color copier darkened it down so much, so we're gonna have to find that sweet spot so that it reproduces well in all these different cases, you know, embroidery and everything. It'll take a little work to get there.
Thank you. Okay, all right. So we're getting a lot accomplished here. We've already taken care of discussion item C. Okay, so moving on to action items. Here we go. Yay. All right, the first action item belongs to city manager. If you would please read that out, and then we'll get a motion, a second.
All right, Mayor and Council, item 11A, approve the first and final reading of ordinance 2026-03-05. An ordinance authorizing and ordering the issuance of City of Alpine, Texas Limited Tax Note Series 2026, specifying the terms of features of such note, levying a continuing direct annual ad valorem tax for the payment of said note, and resolving other matters incident and related to the issuance, sale, payment, and delivery of a paying agent registrar agreement, and providing an effective date.
Okay, I need a motion.
A motion we approve the first final reading of ordinance 2026-03-05 as presented.
I need a second.
I'll second it.
All right, discussion, city manager, if you would start us out. And
Yes, sir.
guys, this is page 61 of 161 in your packet.
So this item requests the city council approval of the first and final reading of ordinance 2026-03-05, authoring the issuance of the City of Alpine, Texas Limited Tax Note Series 2026 and the aggregate principal amount of $927,000. The proposed note is issued pursuant to Chapter 1431 of the Texas Government Code and is intended to provide financing for critical capital improvements, including repair and rehabilitation of the city's public pool, installation and improvement of baseball and park lighting, payment of costs associated with the issuance of the note. The note will bear an interest rate of approximately 4.75% and will mature on April 15th, 2033, with a structured annual principal payments beginning in 2027. The note may be prepaid at any time without penalty, providing flexibility of early payoff if financial conditions allow.
Okay, so. All right, so city manager, our discussion was that we had found some money for the city pool, correct? And instead of using it for the pool, we were gonna go ahead and use it in partnership with AISD,
That is
correct? To
Correct.
help repair Manual Payne Field, and then also to work on the Little League fields. In addition to that, and park lighting such as along the trails. Is that
Correct.
correct?
That's
Yes,
correct.
and then there was some lighting at some of the fields that also needed to be,
Yeah, the Little League field, the lightings, the lights, some of the lights are not working, so order that to be repaired.
okay, so basically. As a council, over the last several meetings, we've been talking about the rehabilitation so that we can move towards being. A tournament destination city to help bring in those tourist dollars and have Little League and softball and tournaments here in Alpine. Could any of those funds also be used in restoration for the bird line that we were hearing about this evening, or for anything in addition to what is listed here?
So that could be a park improvement.
Uh-huh.
It could, it just depends on who owns the property. Because I
Right,
know,
of course.
yeah, Sol Ross owns part
Some
of
of
it,
it.
and Alpine owns, the city of Alpine owns the other part of it.
Right, and then AISD owns some.
So, yeah, so
Yeah,
we'd
so
have
it's
to
divided among
work through
three
those
entities.
details.
Okay, so basically, we're looking at doing this to revitalize Coconut Park, that area in general. And the tournament destination, our night sky hub, also to help brand assist that, so the lights will be night sky, dark sky friendly.
Correct.
And then basically fix up and repair our city as a quality of life issue, because these things have been neglected for a long time.
Any critical items that you see fit.
Okay. Okay, all right, so Councilmember Escobedo?
We need this, and we've been discussing a lot of these things, so I'm for it.
Okay. Councilmember Martinez?
I agree, we've been talking, and it's needed to get all these things done, and I think all the planning is really well done and low interest rate, so I'm for it. Go for it.
Councilmember Lucas?
That's what we discussed last.
Councilmember Stevens?
So I'm a nay on this. I think it's a great package. And these are all things we need to get done. I'm still waiting to see what our fund balance is for the city, which we've not seen. I know that we've seen a capital improvement plan at $17 million over 5 years, which is $3 million a year. I know we're gonna have to borrow to be able to meet those needs. I think we're premature in doing this until such time as we have the budget discussion and we understand what our fund balance is. Because we're about to take on debt. And you know, the good news is when I came on council a long time ago, this amount of city debt was actually greater than the annual city budget. City budget was about $8 million. Our debt was $8.6 million. So the good news is we're down on that. But I get concerned about not knowing where our fund balance is and not having the opportunity to really talk about the priorities that we need to go work, such as we know we need to go off and work our automatic meters, readers, big item. We got to go off and work. That's going to cost several $1 million. We know we've got to work our water infrastructure, the stuff that's underground. We know we need to work the sewers underground. This is certainly high on the list. I just think we need the opportunity to look at those priorities before we start piecemealing it. And then we get into our next fiscal year budget and find out we don't have enough money to meet what we need. So that's my only concern is, and it'd be nice to know when we'll have fund balance information available. That's been my consistent issue over time on our responsibility for fiscal management. So that's my answer.
So city manager, your background's finance and you've worked with cities and municipalities and other entities. Tell us what your thought processes are as far as the city. And I know you've been working closely with Victoria, looking at our books, and you hired a consultant to come in and work with her, and we're in the middle of audits. So what are your thoughts? How do you alleviate Councilmember Stevens' concerns?
So I feel comfortable with this issue. Number one, and when I was interviewed by you, that was one of the things that surprised me, that your balance sheet is very strong. You don't have a lot of debt, you know, especially for your size, right? The debt burden that you have right now is very, very, very low. Okay. I do know that with other projects that we're gonna be presenting, yes, and they're more on the enterprise side, you know, so the ratepayers have to pay for that. These are projects, but we're also applying for grants and stuff like that. We're gonna be aggressive with that, and we're gonna time them out, you know, so. And
So I'm gonna stop you for just a second. Can you tell for YouTube, and then for people sitting out here, what you mean when you say the other projects are on the enterprise side, and
So-
how that doesn't relate to this?
so the enterprise side is the water utility, the gas utility, the sewer utility, because those are user fees. Whoever uses that pays for that. Okay, and so we're developing a plan of some of the needs that are out there, but we're also aggressively gonna be going after some of these grants. Some could be, you know, I've been involved with where they give you 70% loan forgiveness. Okay, some, they give you the whole grant. We're gonna be searching for all that. So that's the enterprise side. This is on the general side, on the general fund. So there's very low debt on that. I've looked at your revenues are pretty steady and consistent, and your actual expenditures year to date are lower than what you budgeted for this time frame. For the 6 months, they're actually about $200,000-300,000 lower. At this go round. We've got another 6 months to go. You know, you have some good managers here that are looking at their budget analysis, and obviously sometimes some things come up, like the water leak that we had on Holland. You know, there's unexpected expenses that happen. But we're still under control, so I feel comfortable. So, I'm also conservative by nature, because, yeah, like Mr. Stevens said, you don't know what can come up. And, you know, running a city is very fluid, and things happen from one day to the next. No.
I know another opportunity arose that the county judge emailed you and myself about, as far as funding for water.
For water.
I don't
project.
know if you were able to dig into that to see if that would be something that.
Yes.
Because he wants to work with us to help us get that.
Correct. So that actual funding, we've already applied with the first application. It was the call a PIF. It's a project information form. So there's 6 projects with our engineers. They've helped us fill out that preliminary application, and it's already been accepted. The deadline was let's say 2 weeks ago, Friday at 4:30. Well, we submitted right at 4:29, and we got our acceptance. Next, they're gonna probably want a little bit more information about the project, so it'll be a little bit more detailed. Okay, you know, what's the actual cost, what's this and that, and then, but we're working with them, and we're also working with the USDA. They have also grants that help rural communities, and they're big on that. So we're working with, I think the representative is from Lubbock area, and we're also working with her.
Councilmember Portillo?
Thank you, Mayor. I think it's great. All for it, you know, I understand that, you know, wanting numbers and things, but the stuff that we fell into, especially like us new people here on the council, nobody had a clue of what's going on, and I understand that we have to have our audits done to apply for that, right? And I mean, we're so far behind on these audits that how do we know, you know, but now we're catching up. So why not get things done now? You know, what you got presented to us, that's one more step forward. Instead of sitting here just talking, and, you know, and then we see where we're at, you know, here later on in the future. So I think it's a great idea, my opinion. Thank you.
And you're not the only city. Sometimes there's a turnover in key personnel. And because they have all the knowledge, that knowledge leaves and it, it gets backtracked, but it's our job to, catch it back up. We have a plan in place. I feel confident that we'll get caught up and then we'll complete our audits and move forward. That's just administration thing. It's not an operations, where you have issues out, risk or issues out in the field that are more challenging than this.
Okay, Councilman Burkus.
To go off on this more, because I'm sure y'all realize my hesitation of this whole ordeal. I understand our discussion and stuff, but I do share concerns with Rick Stevens, and so elaborate on that more. You're comfortable with this, and I just want to understand, I'm sorry, finance is not my backyard by any means. But so we're gonna go out for debt inevitably for a lot of our infrastructure stuff. And we have an enterprise fund that is running a deficiency. And our general fund is having bailed them out currently. So we're gonna go out for debt here. We're gonna go out for debt eventually with an enterprise in that current situation. So that's gonna inevitably come out of our general fund. So what are we looking at for changing our rates and getting our utility side into at least breaking even or to where, I hate to use words profitable, but it's what it'll be, because we need it to be so it can go out for debt, so it can fund future projects and everything. It's what we need at this point.
Correct.
And so how do you feel about that?
So one of the things that you had a utility rate done, the study, and it's kind of pending. But one of the things that I asked the person that did the study, if they had considered the capital improvement plan in that study and
For our
that,
wastewater,
well, for utility, for all your utilities. So
we did a utilities, or I'm sorry, rate study for water as well.
So in general,
Okay,
so they did your rate study, but they did not include your capital improvement plan, which is what it hasn't been approved yet. So until you bless it, then I will ask for them to include that in there.
Sure.
Because those are investments that you're gonna make that are gonna last 20, 30 years. So your user fee needs to be able to be developed to pay for that over the 20, 30 years, and that, you stabilize that rate. So we have to do that exercise. But that won't be done until the capital improvement plan is approved.
And we also have our financial advisor here, if you want to come up in case Mr. Arredondo or any of the council members have questions for you.
First off, I just want to point out that I apologize for earlier. My daughter's 18, she's graduating high school, and she sent my wife a text, and I had said, hey, you sent pictures of my grandparents when I was a little kid. So I had the agenda sitting beside me, I'm working on it. I hear a limited tax note, and I was like, oh, that's me. They've already gone through this whole, wow, they're really fast. And I jumped up and I went to talk, and I said the question, and the mayor was like, hey, and I was like, oh. I apologize. I was listening, but not listening. It's all my daughter's fault, baby. No, I'm kidding. Anyways, but with that being said, I'm here to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, and listening to the conversation, what are your thoughts?
I will say that y'all have a really good fund balance. And to the question about the enterprise funds versus the general fund, most cities do that. One props up the other one most of the time. Typically, enterprise funds actually helps prop up the general fund. And it's just a matter of the accounting within the city is usually what happens. With that being said, we work with y'all's local bank who understands where y'all are at with your audits, understands your financial status, and they're the ones who are underwriting this. And they gave a great interest rate as well. So to answer the question, the fact that you actually have the ability to pay it off before the 7-year term is matured is even better for the fact that if, let's say in 3 years, y'all are doing phenomenal and you can just go ahead and turn that off, pay that off without any issues, maybe 4 years. That's amazing thing too. So to your point, yes, taking in debt, but the same token, have that ability to, when the first payment coming due next year, it won't affect this current fiscal budget. And it's a 7-year term, by the way, it's a limited tax note, so that max is 7 years. So using this item is the best way to go about it. To answer the question overall, I work at the behest of the council. I put all these together and I serve at y'all's capacity or at y'all's choosing, if you will. So that's what this is for, and many cities use them for I'd say small projects. So. There you
Okay,
go.
so being our advisor
Yes,
and looking at all the information.
Yep.
You wouldn't hesitate if you were sitting here on council to vote for this?
No, and I'll tell you the reason why is you do have a really low tax rate. Comparatively to cities, not just your size, but cities in your area. And the reason being is y'all pay down your debt, so you don't have a whole lot of debt outstanding. And whereas I'm a Dave Ramsey guy personally, but as a city, you really don't want to have a really low tax rate because as a person, you don't have a water, like I don't have a water sewer facility in my house. My 14-year-old, he would think otherwise, but 14-year-old boy, that is. He takes so many long showers, y'all. It's crazy. Well, he also smells as a 14-year-old boy would. But anyways, with that being said, I also don't have a police force. I don't have a public works. I mean, all of those things. So as a city, you've got all these projects. So it's always good to have some debt. And with the debt that's coming down the way, it's good to go and get some of these things down now because those other transactions will be much larger, which you can go much larger, much longer term, 20, 30 years if need be, to allow you to get those things, especially when you're talking about a wastewater treatment plant. Those are larger ticket items, longer transactions or longer terms. So this is a much shorter. So getting it done now, but versus waiting just to put it together with another transaction, you're kicking the can down the road, you're gonna have more issues. In my humble opinion.
Councilmember Stevens?
So thanks, Mayor. So my fundamental issue is I'm still waiting to see a date. Hear a date when we're gonna know what our fund balance is. That's one question. Second question is, you talked about we're in good financial shape. We as council have not seen a fiscal report about where the city is. You talked about we're underrun. It's wonderful. We've not seen the data. I believe I have a responsibility to constituents to at least understand what the knowledge is before saying yea verily. In absence of the information, so the package is great. Yeah, I've got an MBA. I've been through this. I've managed billions of dollars. So this is not about, and I've run municipalities. Okay. So I'm not fussed over the conceptual side. I'm just looking for some facts and data under which to say yea verily. It makes sense. And so I'm still waiting for those dates. What's the date?
I can't give you a date, we're working on it. And as soon as we get it, we'll deliver it to you.
Yeah, so, and so my put is, when we have the information, then I can say yea verily, because I think it's the right thing to go do. I'm just looking for some facts and data, so.
I can speak to that to a certain degree, being outside looking at one quick thing is with your audits being behind, it's really hard for a city to provide some of that dollar amount. Yes, could you go and look at the bank statement and go, okay, this is how much money we have in our bank account. That doesn't take into effect, sales tax dollars, right? Coming and going. But with that being said, with your audits, a lot of my cities and cities all around, while they're working toward getting their audits completed, they're making adjustments to those numbers because the auditor comes in and says, hey, there's this problem, you need this issue. As you know, you run your municipality as well. So I think some of those things that you're looking at will come from those audits being completed.
I'm not worried about, I know it's gonna happen.
Yes, sir.
All right. We passed the deficit budget. Okay, we said we're gonna go get our audits done. We're diligently working on that.
Yes, sir.
My frustration is, I don't know what the numbers are. And we talked about a capital improvement plan, is $18 million over 5 years. The simple math says, we're gonna have to go get debt, probably $3.5 million a year to cover that. It's gonna run over 30 years. I'm just trying to understand what that financial picture looks like, because my perception is, and while our tax rate may be low compared to other municipalities, residents in this town are not gonna look favorably if we increase the property tax rate, we increase the water rate, we increase our sewer rate, we increase our tax rate. They'll look and say, whoa. Okay, and that's part of our responsibility on this council is to manage that. So that's why I raised the issue.
I understand completely.
Any other comments, city manager? Council? All right, let's vote. Councilmember Portillo.
Oh, yes.
Councilmember-
Nay.
Okay. City Secretary, Council approved the first and final reading of ordinance 2026-03-05, an ordinance authorizing and ordering the issuance of City of Alpine, Texas Limited Tax Note Series 2026. The Councilmember Portillo, Councilmember Martinez, and Councilmember Escobedo voting in favor. Councilmember Lucas and Councilmember Stevens voting against. All right, moving on to action item B, City Manager. Thank you so much.
Thank you all
Thank you.
so much.
Thank you.
Item B, approve the second and final reading of ordinance 2026-0401, an ordinance amending chapter 74 Parks and Recreation, Article 1 in general to the Alpine Code of Ordinances, amending rules and regulations for all city parks, providing the establishment of up to a $500 penalty for occurrence for violations of the ordinance, providing for the establishment of up to $4,000 penalty for certain public health and safety violations of the ordinance, providing for the following findings of fact: enactment, repealer, penalty, saving, severability, proper notice and meeting, and effective date clauses.
I need a motion, please.
Motion, we approve the second final reading of ordinance 2026-0401 as presented.
I need a second.
I second.
Okay, discussion, City Manager, if you would start us out, please.
The city of Alpine owns and operates a number of public parks and recreational amenities that serve residents, families, and youth programs and community events. As a home municipality, the city has the authority to adopt ordinances regulating the use of municipal property and establishing rules necessary to protect the public health, safety, and welfare. The current park regulations were previously established through ordinance 2002-05-04 and the most recently updated ordinance of 2025-01-02. The Parks and Recreation Advisory Board reviewed the existing provisions and recommended amendments to clarify park rules, address operational issues, and improve the city's ability to manage park facilities and respond to public health and safety concerns. The proposed ordinance updates and consolidates several provisions within Chapter 74, including establishing updated definitions and administrative provisions related to park use, permit reservations, and park facilities, clarifying rules regarding park hours, alcohol possession, noise, commercial activity, special events, parking, animals, and facility use. Authorizing the city manager or designee to administer permits, develop facility-specific rules, and regulate special events or restricted park uses. Providing additional guidance related to park closures, littering, smoking, amplified sound, and other conduct that may impact park safety or public enjoyment, and updating enforcement provisions to ensure consistent compliance with park regulations. The ordinance also establishes enforcement penalties consistent with state law, including a fine of up to $500 per occurrence for general violations of park regulations, and a fine of up to $4,000 for certain public health and safety violations, such as illegal dumping or hazardous conditions that may affect public health.
Okay, and you said the Parks Board went through this, approved it, voted
Yes.
unanimously?
Sure. What was the? Unanimously, yes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yes.
Okay, so Councilmember Portillo, since this is your board, we'll start with you.
I approve it. Aye. Good.
Okay, Councilmember Lucas,
So second reading, good.
Councilmember Stevens,
Parks Board's done a great job. I'm good.
Councilmember Martinez,
I'm good.
Councilmember Escobedo. All right, let's vote.
Aye.
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 City Secretary, Council voted unanimously to approve the second final reading of ordinance 2026-04-01. Moving on to action item C, City Manager.
Okay, approve the second and final reading of ordinance 2026-04-02, an ordinance establishing Article 5 low speed and utility vehicles of Chapter 94, traffic and vehicles of the Alpine Code of Ordinances, establishing regulations related to the operation of golf carts, pocket bikes, mini motorbikes, and utility vehicles within the city. providing for a penalty of up to $500 per occurrence for violations, and providing for findings of fact and accurate repealer penalty savings, severability, proper notice, and meeting and effect date clauses.
Okay, I need a motion.
And-
I need a second.
Second.
Okay, discussion, city manager.
So this ordinance reflects several months of city council discussion regarding the increasing presence of these vehicles types on public roadways and the need to establish clear enforceable regulations that prioritize public safety while allowing limited practical use for short distance travel within the community. An earlier version of the ordinance 22-6-01-01, was considered by the city council in January 2026, but did not advance due to identified gaps in vehicle classification, equipment standards, and legal considerations under Texas Transportation Code. Subsequent revisions were developed through additional council input and a workshop held on February 17, 2026, which included participation from Texas Department of Public Safety to ensure alignment with the state law and practical enforcement consideration. The revised ordinance incorporates updated statutory references, expanded definitions, and enhanced equipment and safety requirements, and established of a local permitting and inspection program administered by Alpine Police Department.
Councilmember Stevens.
The only question I have is, assuming we pass it tonight, when will it go into effect? Because I would presume Rich is gonna be the first one. Right?
So, when would it go into effect?
It would be effective upon the passage publication, which would be next Thursday, not this one, but next Thursday. And by the way, we actually identified a typo in the ordinance, and it's one that should be amended. It says adopted the 17th day of April instead of the 7th. So if someone would like to amend that, we'd appreciate it.
Okay,
Make the motion to amend from the 17th to the 7th of April.
I see. Okay, any discussion on that? Okay, all right, Councilmember Portillo?
No
Sure,
question.
what do you think?
Excited, ready to get it passed.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Escobedo? I'm all for it. Councilmember Martinez?
Finally, yes, of course, yes.
Councilmember Lucas?
Good.
All right, so we need to vote on the amendment. We've got the motion, we've got the second, we've discussed, let's vote on the amendment to amend from the 17th to 7th. Aye. All right, perfect. City Secretary, Council voted unanimously for the amendment to fix the typo from the 17th to the 7th of April, 2026. Now we need to dispose of the original motion as amended.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. And City Secretary, we disposed of the original motion as amended. Moving on to action item D, City Manager.
Approve the first reading of ordinance 2026-04-03, an ordinance approving rezone application 2026-04-01, amending the official zone map for the city by rezoning the property located at 205 South Berkeley and legally described as all of lots 8, 9, 10, 11, Block 2, Berkeley addition to the city of Alpine, Brewster County, Texas, as the same appears in the map of plat records on file in the office of the county clerk of Brewster County, Texas, rezoning the subject property from R2, two-family district to R-4 mixed residential district, providing findings of fact, repealer, severability, effect date, proper notice, and hearing clauses.
Need a motion?
Move we approve the first reading of ordinance 2026-04-03 as presented.
I need a second.
Second.
Okay, discussion, City Manager.
So the item requests the city council approval of the first reading of ordinance 2026-04-03, which would amend the city of Alpine's official zoning map by rezoning the property located at 205 South Berkeley from R2 two-family district to R4 mixed. The rezoning request was initiated by the property owner to allow for the placement of a manufactured home, a use that is not permitted under the current R2 zoning designation. In accordance with state law and city procedures, the Planning and Zoning Commission conducted a public hearing on March 23rd, 2026, and recommended approval of the requested zoning change. Public notice requirements were satisfied through the publication in the city's official newspaper and mailed notice to property owners within 200 feet of the subject property. The proposed rezoning is intended to provide greater flexibility in residential land use while remaining consistent with the city's authority to regulate zoning under chapter 211 of the Texas Local Government Code and the city charter.
Okay, Councilmember Lucas.
I'm good with it. I got to speak with our building official about it. I looked at it on our zoning map. And then also, if you've ever driven through that neighborhood, all those lots are already predominantly mobile homes. And then if you look at our zoning map as well, they're also too small for anything else to really go in there unless you bought up a bunch of them and plotted them together and stuff. So it makes sense to me, and it's contiguous with the cross street, which is R4 cross street.
Okay, all right. Councilmember Escobedo,
I'm okay with that.
Councilmember Stevens,
What's going through my mind is we made a change to the R4 for multi-use, which I think is exactly the right thing to go do. And I thought part of that process was to provide greater flexibility. Here, we're changing an R2 to an R4 to allow a manufactured home to go into what is currently an R2, which seems to be opposite of what we're trying to do. So that's the only, help me out, Jessica. I'm trying to understand what the rationale is for this one, because this seems to be opposite of where we're trying to go.
Jessica Isley, Building Official, City of Alpine. To answer your question, right now it's designated R2, which is it's going to be the 2-family district.
Yeah.
So you can put duplexes, townhouses. The gentleman that has the property doesn't have enough room to build a house, nor does he need a house of that square footage. So the recommendation was for him to rezone it from an R2 to an R4, where he can either build the mixed or multi-use property, either a 500 square feet or more, or put in a manufactured home, which is allowable in the R4. So the R4 opens up more options.
Okay.
And so he is trying to rezone from R2 that he currently is to an R4 where he can have more options for a smaller.
Okay. And I admit, I didn't look at the zoning map because I didn't understand all of the details, but it's an R4 across the street, but the neighbors are R2s next to it.
Yes. It's right across the street from an R4.
Okay.
So lot sizes are literally mobile home lot sizes.
Yeah.
So that's why I was saying he would have to buy up multiple lots, or anybody really, to change what they're being used for currently.
Yeah. So it sounds like it's the right thing to go do. Is there anything we should do from a council standpoint to help the other property owners in that area, given the doggone shrinking the small lot sizes in that neighborhood? That's what's I'm thinking about.
I mean, aside from the rezoning that we're discussing, there is some things that came up after we did our rezoning amendments recently that kind of affected like the lot size as far as the width goes. That is something historically that has been an issue. The way that the zoning ordinance states it has to be 50 feet wide, which isn't really what you have to have. It could be 25 to put a house in with a proper setback. So yes, I would like to bring that back up to discussion later on, but right now there's the one with the historical preservation of the historical buildings with the setbacks is the one that I would like to do first. But yeah, I would like to recircle back eventually and rediscuss where we found the gaps of where things need to be corrected to make it easier to build on lots out here. We did remove the square footage requirements, except for in the R1. So that did open up a lot more as far as property goes, but the size of the lot and width is, I think, kind of hung up on some of the historical properties that have really narrow lots. They're really far back in depth, but they've got a really small. And so I've come across that quite a few times where I'm like, that's going to be a problem going forward with people that have a property and they want to build on it. But for this one, it really makes sense for him. The gentleman that has a property, it's his family's land. He wants to build there. Yeah, I think that this is the best thing for him.
Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Portillo,
No, ma'am.
Councilmember Martinez,
I'm okay.
let's vote.
Aye.
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 City Secretary, Council voted unanimously to approve the first reading of ordinance 2026-04-03. Moving on to the last action item, City Manager.
Approve the first and final reading of ordinance 2026-4-04, an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget to appropriate the hotel occupancy tax funds for the purchase of the real property to support tourism related infrastructure. authorizing the expenditure of said funds and providing for findings of fact, cumulative severability, proper notice and meeting and effective date.
Any emotion?
I move we approve the first and final reading of ordinance 2026-04 as presented. Second.
Okay, and discussion, city manager.
Okay, the subject property has been discussed by city council on multiple occasions in an executive session according with Texas Open Meetings Act for deliberation of real property acquisition. Following those discussions, the city council authorized staff to proceed with making an offer on the property through the adoption of resolution 2026-2-15 on February 17, 2026. The property contains two public murals previously funded by the city, which serve as cultural and visual attraction that contributes to Alpine's tourism economy. Acquisition of the property will ensure long-term preservation, public accessibility, and enhancement of these assets. Additionally, the city intends to establish a visitor kiosk at this location to provide information and services to visitors, further promoting tourism and supporting the local hotel and convention industry. The use of hot tax funds for this purpose is consistent with Chapter 351 of the Texas Tax Code, and it is directly enhances the and promotes tourism.
Great. All right, Councilmember Escobedo. Councilmember Stevens.
I'm good.
Councilmember Lucas. Councilmember Portillo.
I'm good.
Councilmember Martinez.
I'm good.
Let's vote.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
City Secretary, council voted unanimously to approve the first and final reading of ordinance 2026-04. Thank you, Chris. You. All right, moving on to executive reports, 6 minutes with an additional 4 allowed as needed. So moving on with the mayor report, just a couple of things. Henry and I attended our leadership huddle last night with Carlos Hernandez. Michelle Reinhardt usually attends, but she was absent. The county judge, Greg Hennington, BBT, Rusty Moore, Kirsten Moody of Alpine Community Projects, because they're one of our most active nonprofits that do things for the city. They're having their elder care meeting tomorrow night at 5:30. This will be, I believe, the 4th or 5th one that we've held so far, discussing some things there and a possible grant that they've applied for through AARP. Also, that's it, right? He was in attendance. The Big Bend Regional Hospital Medical Center, their executive director, Wendy, I can't remember her name, but she's invited. She was unable to attend because they had an emergency. And then also Lynette Brown from the hospital district. Partnerships, that's what we talk about mostly. And as you can see, we're working on that with AIFP and also with Sol Ross in regards to the lodge area. The judge is also interested in the lodge area and what the county can do and how they can work. I know Sol Ross also has some thoughts on that. So that was one of the topics of discussion. This area, according to Rusty, will be completely fiber enabled by the end of May. Correct me if I'm wrong on anything, Henry, regarding that. The judge is just wanting to support all the entities as best as possible. He gave a report on the emergency services district. They're moving along with their petition, getting the signatures. I need 100 signatures. And then what happens is it has to be presented to the county commissioners, and it's the county commissioners who will have to call for the election in November for the emergency services district. And that was pretty much the topic of conversation. And and so we did that. Also, we have, as y'all know, a recreation coordinator, and she's been really active. She's looking to extend the swim season, maybe longer because of our warmer climate.
Nice.
And then also hour-wise, because it closes at 5, but a lot of people get off at 5. And so she's hoping to extend it a little bit. So maybe you can go home, have dinner, and maybe go swimming with your kids or just go swimming yourself. She had a little survey that she put on Facebook to see what people's thoughts were. From what I saw, it was overwhelmingly, what do you think? Yeah, it was a thumbs up. All right, so she has ideas on how she can manage mostly herself, so it doesn't put too much of a burden on the staff. So that may be coming forward for something for us to think about with the city pool. I'm interested in finding out if we have any updates on when the contractors can be up here to start. So hopefully you'll talk about that here in just a little bit. And then also there was great news that the city received. I was copied on the email back in 2021. Henry mentioned it earlier. Texas Division of Emergency Management grant was applied for back in 2021. It's been 5 long years, but they have finally approved us for $742,500, with the federal government share being 68.7% at $510,375.60. Our share is $232,000. Mainly what that's going to cover is generators that we had applied for at each of the 3 pump stations, so that if there's some kind of power failure, we can still have water, and the city yard. Surface mounted to a new concrete pad. And then we currently have 1 trailer mounted generator for backups for power, the Sunny Glen well and the Muskies well field. So that's great news. We're finally moving forward with that. And we can protect our water supply during type of emergencies. Just wanted to let you guys know about that. And that's it. Okay, so city manager, your turn.
We kind of the same, we met with Alpine Community Projects, Kristen Moody, Marcy Tuck, and Adelina Beal. See if there's any grant funding that we can work on together. We had the appreciation dinner with boards and commissions, which was great. I did meet with a resident that has had some sewer backups, and the issue has been already addressed. We dug up the pipe, fixed it. We met with a Mexican consulate of Presidio here, with the mayor and Ms. Martinez, and we provided them, coffee and, some pastries here. We had a good discussion. We did have the RFP evaluation for the incinerator, so it'll be on the next council agenda. Let's see. City of Alpine, fiscal year 2026 grant award notification, TCQ Regional Solid Waste Program that Adelina works on. And Jacob and Martin Engineers visit Skyway Gardens again for the Lower Hill, Upper Hill pump station. And there's been some excavation going on over there. They feel really good about it. There's probably going to be a little bit further excavation. And it'll probably be over next week sometime, or in 2 weeks. And that's about it from my side.
Okay, and since he has these things listed out on the agenda, according to Texas Open Meetings Act, TOMA, you guys can ask questions. So any questions, council? Councilmember Stevens?
So Mike was really excited about Upper Hill, Lower Hill excavation.
Oh, yeah, not at first, right? But now he is, and he's like, all right.
Oh, my gosh, yeah. So you think next week there'll be a better sense about where that's at?
Yeah, I talked to Andy today, and he said he probably has already sent me an email, so I'll update you on that.
Yeah, because he literally stopped. I was on the street. He stopped, just run over. He was so excited to run his way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's good news. Okay, that's great news. Thanks.
That's good.
Any other questions, council? Okay, let's move on. Okay, so city council member comments, Councilmember Stevens.
I've got nothing else tonight. Good meeting.
Thank you. Councilmember Escobedo. Councilmember Lucas.
Nothing, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Martinez.
I just want to go back that we have the meeting with the council from Presidio. And I saw him yesterday, Saturday, yeah. And he asked me when we are going to go to Presidio to go and talk to the president of Onaga. He's excited, so he's waiting for the date. So he told me to ask you when we were in the meeting. So he just need 2 weeks in advance so he can organize and plan and give us a tour in Presidio and in Onaga to visit with authorities and everything.
And just so people who are watching the video or who may be watching live understand, the president of Okanagan is equivalent to the mayor of Okanagan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the same thing. All right, perfect. Councilmember Portillo.
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. And so with that, we're gonna move into executive session. So this brings us to item number 14. Executive session pursuant to chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. The city council reserves the right to convene into executive session from time to time as deemed necessary during this meeting for any posted agenda item or to receive advice from the attorney as permitted by law. Tonight, the city council will recess into executive session pursuant to chapter 551.07 Texas Government Code, personnel matters. May I have a motion to move into executive session? May I have a second? Okay, any discussion? Let's vote.
Aye.
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 All right, City Secretary Council voted unanimously to move into executive session pursuant to 551.074 at 7:47 PM. I'm doing good, thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Philip, for being here. Okay, may I have a motion to reconvene into open session?
I move, we move into open session.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Let's vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Hi, sorry.
City Secretary Council voted unanimously to move back into open session at 8:30 PM. Okay, may I have a motion?
I move that city council take no action after executive session.
May I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Let's vote.
Aye.
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 City Secretary Council voted unanimously that there will be no action after executive session. And with that, we are adjourned.
Thank you.
That's why I didn't see him there yesterday when we were doing that lease.
Good point.